back to the GSMC Baseball Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Sam Menzie, and we have a great show for you today. First topic we're going over is our power rankings for the end of the week. Do this every Friday here on the channel. So we'll be going over that for the first three, talking about numbers 1 to 30, of course, just ranking all the teams in the league. Always a nice way, in my opinion, to end off the week and just end up talking about all these teams. Going into the fourth segment, we'll be talking about the Texas Rangers and their trade deadline, and then going into the fifth, we will talk about some news around the league, just some general other news stories that I did want to touch upon. So yeah, before we do all that, though, I'd like to ask you to please like and follow the show. We do get a number of questions from viewers, so to ensure that your question does get read in the air, please use the link, gsmcpodcast.net. It really does help the show, and it really does mean a lot, so thank you so much for that. And let's get back into the show for today. All right, so we're starting off in our first segment, like I said, the power rankings starting off from numbers 1 to 10, so let's get into it. Now, at number 1, we're going to be starting off, I am going to be having from the AL East, the Baltimore Orioles. Now, the Orioles are my number 1 team in this power rankings. They have been for a good amount of time, I'd say, and they were always 1 or 2 for a significant amount of time with them and the Yankees. But this week, it was really between the Orioles and then the team at number 2, who I'll go after. But the reason I picked the Orioles over the team at number 2 is that because I just simply think the Orioles have more talent. I think when you look at this team, guys like, of course, Adley Rutschman, Gunnar Henderson, Ryan Mountcastle, Austin Hayes, Colin Cowser, rotation as well, Cade Povich, you have Corbin Burns, Grayson Rodriguez, who I did a segment on this week as well. I just think this Orioles team is littered with young talent. They have their opportunity to get significantly better at the trade deadline as well with how much prospect capital they have. So overall, I do have the Phillies here at number 1. I think they are the best team in baseball, and I think they've continued to show it. Sorry, if I said Phillies, I meant Orioles. I think I was going to a little quick in my head because number 2 team is the Phillies. Now, like I said, I was deciding between the number 1 and 2 teams with the Orioles and the Phillies. I was really close picking the Phillies. I was really close picking the Orioles. Eventually, I did end up picking the Orioles over the Phillies, but the Phillies are still an absolutely fantastic team. I've talked about them before on the show, of course. I mean, they're the Phillies with how amazing they've done all year. I could talk about them every day. Just the pitching depth they have is really something I have not seen in a long, long time. You have Zach Wheeler, Aaron Nola, Christopher Sanchez, Ranger Suarez, Taijuan Walker, Spencer Turnbull. You have some other guys in the liners who could come up and make significant starts like Andrew Painter, Mick Abel, Griff McGarry. And just the way that the Phillies have this amount of pitching depth is truly incredible. I mean, you lost Spencer Turnbull, who's been an amazing pitcher for you this year, one of the biggest surprises, and you really haven't lost a beat. And what's also been impressive to me is how they've had these injuries all year and really haven't suffered for it. I mean, they lost Harper for a good amount of time, Schwarber for a good amount of time. JT Realmuto has been out for a little while as well. Trey Turner was out for a lot of the year. So was Brandon Marsh. So the fact that they've been able to really never lose a beat with all these guys out consistently has been so impressive to me, and that is why I do end up having them here in number 2 as the best team in the NL. And yeah, I think this is definitely the correct spot to put them. At number 3, I have the surprise of the year. I'll keep talking about them as the surprise of the year, the Cleveland Guardians. The way this team has just been absolutely incredible this year has been fascinating, has been crazy, and yeah, just this team has been absolutely amazing. I've talked about them before, but the offense is killer. Guys like Bo Naylor, Jose Ramirez, Stephen Kwan, Josh Naylor, just it's an incredible hitting core they've assembled. Their pitching needs help, but I think they can get it. And even with their starting pitching, definitely needing a lot of help, not being the greatest. Their bullpen is absolutely fantastic. I mean, you have 4 to 5 elite relievers in that pen, headlined by guys like Cade Smith, Andrew Chafin, Hunter Gaddis, Emmanuel Clase. So just overall, this bullpen is absolutely fantastic. It's just so incredible. And yeah, this team overall has been one of the biggest surprises of the year. I think I had them 4th or 5th in the AL Central, and the fact they're now the 3rd best team in all of baseball, in my opinion, has been an incredible turnaround. And yeah, I do have them here at number 3. At number 4, I do have the Los Angeles Dodgers. Now, the Dodgers are amazing this year. I mean, have a super team, basically. They've been hit hard by injuries, of course, with Mookie Betts and Yoshinobu Yamamoto going down for a significant time now. But they still have absolutely outstanding talents with, of course, Shohei Ohtani, Freddie Freeman, pitching staff as well with Tyler Glasnow. Gavin Stone's been really great. Bobby Miller, Walker Buehler. So a lot of talent still on this Dodgers team. Been absolutely fantastic. And that's why I do have them here at number 4. Really, really great. to me, clearly the second best team in the National League right now. Not yet up to the Philly standard, but still amazing. And I think once they get Mookie back, once they get Yamamoto back, once they make some kind of trade at the deadline, they'll be much, much better. And maybe even we'll go up to number 1 at some point. Number 5, I have the New York Yankees. Now, the Yankees were my 1 or 2 team for, I think, the entire season. And, these last 2 weeks or so have been really rough for them, I won't lie. I mean, they're 2-8 now in their last 10. Lost series to the Blue Jays. Of course, got swept by the Mets. And, yeah, it's not look great for the Yankees currently. A lot of their flaws becoming much more prevalent. I think their lineup outside of Soto and Judge is very weak. Their rotation starting to show a little bit. Their bullpen isn't the greatest, but at the same time, I really couldn't put them any lower than 5. I just think the duo of Judge and Soto is absolutely incredible. They're dealing with a lot of injuries right now. Their rotation is pretty incredible still, in my opinion. So they still have a ton of talent, still are absolutely great, and I just could not put them anywhere other than the top 5. I was thinking about ways to put them lower, but I really wouldn't feel good about myself if I did. I thought it would have been not a great list. So I do have them still at number 5. Again, their flaws becoming much more prevalent. Yes, I want to make that clear. That is true. But at the same time, they're still a fantastic team. So have a ton of talent. So have so many amazing, amazing players. And I do have them here at number 5. At number 6, I have the Minnesota Twins. Now, the Twins, of course, were in second place in the AL Central, second to the third place Guardians, third place in my power rankings. And yeah, the Twins team is fantastic. I talked about them yesterday. They did get a big blow to their hitting core with Royce Lewis getting hurt, but at the same time, Brooks Lee is still fantastic, and I think will be really good. Carlos Correa is great. You still have some other great, talented players on offense, of course, like Byron Buxton. Ryan Jeffers has been great. So overall, still a lot to like with this Twins team. Rotation's getting better. I mean, Pablo Lopez will definitely get better soon. I don't think he's going to be this bad the whole season. Still have some other great talented players like Bailey Ober, Louis Varland, Chris Paddock, Simeon Richardson. So there's a lot of players that are really nice here on this Twins team, and that's why I do have them here at number 6. Very high in that wild card spot. Second place in the AL Central. Have been really, really good this year, and I do have them here at number 6. At number 7, I have another American League team, the AL West leading Seattle Mariners. The Mariners have been absolutely fantastic this year. Their pitching core is incredible. I've talked about it before, but guys like Brian Wu, Emerson Hancock, George Kirby, I'm sure I'm forgetting one. Luis Castillo, how could I forget him? Just that's absolutely incredible. The offense is heating up. Julio's going to get better eventually. I don't think he's going to be as bad as he's currently doing. I mean, you can only go up from what he's doing right now. You can't really get worse than that. You also have some other guys like Cal Raleigh, Mitch Garver, Jorge Polanco, who are also very talented guys who haven't really started hitting to their fullest potential yet. So I still love this Mariners team a lot. I still think there's a ton of talent here. They've really done well in the AL West this year when everyone else has really been underperforming. They've stepped up, and they've continued to be great. So I have them here at number 7. Number 8, I am going to be having the NL Central leading Milwaukee Brewers. The Brewers have been fantastic this year. There are some flaws in their team that have become much more prevalent over these past few weeks, including the pitching staff. But there's still a ton of talent here. Guys like Jackson Chourio, William Contreras, not Wilson, Rhys Hoskins, Christian Yelich, Tyler Black, Sal Frelick, guys like that who are really, really incredible talents. And yeah, I do have the Brewers here at number 8. I think they've been really, really good. And yeah, just one of the biggest surprises of the year. Number 9, I have a third-place team. That's how deep the AL Central is, the Kansas City Royals. Royals are really in the same boat as the Mariners and the Phillies. Their pitching core is absolutely ridiculous. Michael Wacha, Seth Lugo, Brady Singer. Just absolutely incredible top 3. Cole Reagans as well, who I even forgot. The bullpen needs some help, but the pitching rotation is really good. The offense has some great pieces like MJ Melendez, Vinny Pasquantino, Bobby Witt Jr., guys like that who have been absolutely fantastic. The Royals team has been really, really good, and they are here at number 9. I love this team this year right now. I think they're really, really good. Number 10, I am going to be having the Atlanta Braves. The Braves were a team that most people expected to be number 1, number 2, number 3 on this list going into the year, and they were for most of the time, but injuries have really hit them hard. We know this. I mean, Ronald Acuna Jr., Spencer Strider, both out for the year, and they need some help. Their pitching rotation, while good right now, I don't believe it's going to be sustainable. Their offense is really good. Marcellus Boone has been fantastic. And, some of your other guys who have not performed as well are going to get better, but there's still a lot of flaws on this Braves team. I can't really put them higher than 10, as I've kind of had them in that range for, around the past 3-4 weeks now. So I think it's fair, and I do have them here at number 10. And so going back over the top 10, we have number 1, the Baltimore Orioles, number 2, the Philadelphia Phillies, number 3, the Cleveland Guardians, number 4, the Los Angeles Dodgers, number 5, the New York Yankees, number 6, the Minnesota Twins, number 7, the Seattle Mariners, number 8, Milwaukee Brewers, number 9, Kansas City Royals, number 10, Atlanta Braves. So that is it for our first segment here, talking about our 1 to 10 portion of our power rankings. We'll be moving into our second segment, which is going to be talking about the 11 to 20 portion of the power rankings, just keeping that going for today on this beautiful Friday afternoon. So we'll talk about that, and we'll see you after the break. So thank you, and bye.
Looking for your daily fix of sports talk without having to pay for it? GSMC Sports Network is available on YouTube. Just search GSMC Sports Network. Get your fix of daily sports talk shows on YouTube, absolutely free. NFL, college football, NBA, MLB, MMA, UFC, fantasy football, and so much more. GSMC Sports Network has shows running all day long, with new sports shows starting every 2 hours. Just like on your favorite cable sports channel, except GSMC Sports Network is absolutely free. Just search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube to catch one of your new favorite shows, like the GSMC College Football Podcast, Chip Shot Football Podcast, Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, GSMC Basketball Podcast, and so many more. Check it out for yourself. GSMC Sports Network, now available on YouTube absolutely free. Search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube right now.
And we're back here on the GSMC Baseball Podcast, bringing you our second segment, which is going to be continuing our Friday Power Rankings here, going over numbers 11 to 20. But before we do that, I'd like to ask you again to please like and follow the show. We do get a number of questions from viewers, so to ensure that your question does get read in the air, please use the link, GSMC Podcast on net. It really does help the show, and it really does mean a lot, so thank you so much for that. And let's get back into the show for today. All right, so going over our 11 to 20 portion of the power rankings here, we just did numbers 1 to 10, the elite of the elite, as I would say. So, we'll be going into 11 to 20 here. So, starting off at number 11, we have from the NL, the San Diego Padres. Now, the Padres are very much in the NL wildcard discussion right now. I believe have a spot at the time I'm recording this, and I assume it'll be posted. And the Padres have been really good this year. They have a ton of talent. I mean, I don't know if there's a team with more talent than the Padres. I mean, maybe the Dodgers, someone, but just the name value they have has been pretty incredible. Your lineup is great. Guys like Luis Campusano, Jay Cronenworth, Manny Machado, Fernando Tatis Jr., Jackson Merrill, Luis Arias, Jurickson Profar has been insane this year. So a lot of talent on this Padres team. Pitching core has been really nice, even though it has been injured, with guys like Dylan Cease, Joe Musgrove, Yu Darvish, Michael King, Matt Waldron. So there's a lot to like on this Padres team. I do have them at number 11 here. In my opinion, even though there are a ton of NL teams kind of stacked together within the wild card right now, I really do think that the Padres, the Diamondbacks, and the Mets, those three really are the three teams that stand out for me out of all the two teams fighting for out of all these teams fighting for 2 spots, because we know that 1 to 4 is set. 1 is going to be the Phillies. 1 to 3 is going to be some combination of the Phillies, Dodgers, and Brewers, and then 4 will be the Braves. I think that's pretty clear. I'd be shocked if that doesn't happen. And then 5 to 6 is where it really gets interesting, because you have a ton of NL teams fighting out for 1 spot, and I really do think the Padres, Mets, and Diamondbacks, like I said, are the teams that stand out, and you'll see that reflected on my list. So, but we're going over it more. But right now the Padres are ahead in the wild card spot, and I do have them here at number 11, just missing the top 10. I think this team is really fantastic. Number 12 is one of the hottest teams in baseball currently, a team that has honestly proven me wrong a little bit, the Astros. Now, the Astros, you may say, how have they proven you wrong? They've been bad. Well, I thought they were done. I really did not think that the way they started the year, there was any coming back for that. I really did not think that they would be able to. I really did not think there would be a way to get back from that awful start they did. I thought there was too many flaws in their team. I just really did not think they were that good, to be honest, and they've proven me wrong. They've done much better as of recently. Guys finally started to step up, mainly Hunter Brown. Brown's become a real fixture in that rotation right now, and Verlander will come back soon, and he's been solid, so you're not going to have Verlander. You're going to have Brown. You're going to have Ronald Blanco, Framber Valdez. That's a really solid front four, and that the pitching rotation really was I was worried about. So with those 4 coming in, with guys like Alex Bregman performing better in the offensive side, this Astros team is becoming the Astros team that we've known and loved for this past few years. Maybe not loved. I know some people haven't liked them because, bang bang and all that. But this Astros team has been very impressive over the past few weeks. Again, I think Hunter Brown coming together and locking in to be the guy that we thought he could be coming up as a prospect has been very, very important to this Astros team, and that is why I do have them here at number 12. They've been very, very impressive. Number 13, I have one of the teams I was just mentioning, the New York Mets. The Mets' ascension over these past few weeks has been very, very impressive. They did hit a little bit of a road bump, not winning a series against the Nationals. They split it, which is not great because it's the Nationals. But the thing about the Mets is their offense is incredible. Their pitching staff has a ton of depth, maybe even, I'd say, more than most teams. They have, I'd say, around 9 or 10 guys right now that I, as a Mets fan, would feel confident in making an MLB start. So that's, I think that's something that really is not talked about enough, the pitching depth they have. We've heard rumors that they could trade from it because of how much they have. Trade a guy like Sean Manaea, Luis Severino, Jose Quintana. But the Mets, even though they did lose those 2 games in a row to the Nationals, coming up with a big series now against the Pirates, their problems are very fixable and their problems are very known. It's their bullpen. Their bullpen stinks. Their bullpen is bad, bad, bad. But the thing is, you can always fix a bullpen. You can find arms that are good for a few months because bullpen arms are so volatile. They switch on and off. You're getting Edwin Diaz back soon. You're getting Kodai Senga back to the rotation soon, which should help the bullpen. If you might have some guys like Tyler McGill, David Peterson move there. You have guys in the minor leagues like Eric Orris who could potentially come up. You have the trade possibilities on the market. I mean, there's so many guys, so many people from the Marlins, from the Tigers, that you could trade to get for your arm. So many guys from the A's. So even though the Mets do have problems, they blew 2 leads in a row against the Nationals. Their bullpen is fixable. We know what the problem is, and I really do like this Mets team still. I do think they are going to end up at least very close to a playoff spot, if not making it. So, yeah, I think this team has been very, very impressive. Their offense is absolutely incredible. I mean, it's been so, so good. Really, since Francisco Lindor moved to the leadoff spot, they've been absolutely great. And, yeah, I have them here at number 13. 14, I have the Red Sox. The Red Sox have been insanely impressive this year. You have guys right now in your rotation that have been very, very good. Guys like Tanner Houck, guys like Cutter Crawford, Garrett Whitlock. They have had some injury bug as of recently, but those guys have been great. The offense has been good as well with guys like Rafi Devers, Connor Wong, Jarren Duran having really great seasons. Mainly Connor Wong and Jarren Duran finally breaking out and becoming great players has been very impressive. So a lot to like with this Red Sox team. Not much that I thought I would like before the season, but they have been very impressive, really proving me wrong, and have been very, very impressive this year. Number 15, I have the St. Louis Cardinals. Now, the Cardinals right now are in the second wildcard spot, so I couldn't put them any lower. I'm just not a huge fan of them, but they've proved me wrong. I mean, you've had some good offensive contributions from your core in the past few weeks. You picked up Michael Ciani off of waivers, been very, very impressive. Brendan Donovan has been really good these past few weeks. Your rotation has still been good. I don't know when it's going to regress, but it's got to happen soon. I mean, that top 3 is really great with Sonny Gray, Lance Lynn, and Kyle Gibson, even though Lynn and Gibson I don't think are going to continue to be that good, and Gibson has fought some injury problems. So overall, this Cardinals team has been impressive. Their offense has been better as of recently, but I do think that the team below them, 16, the Arizona Diamondbacks, are a better team. It's just right now, the way the Cardinals have been playing, the way their record looks, I couldn't put them any lower than this. It might be ruffling some feathers even still with putting the Mets at 13 when they're not even a wild card spot and they're below 500, but if you've watched the Mets these past few weeks, you'll see why. But yeah, this Diamondbacks team I still absolutely love. I think once they get healthy, they really are going to be a team that you really do not want to mess with. This rotation when healthy is going to be absolutely incredible. Zach Gallen, Brandon Pfaadt, Eduardo Rodriguez, Jordan Montgomery, Merrill Kelly. I mean, that's 5 great pitchers in that rotation. You have some amazing offensive pieces as well, like Ketel Marte has been absolutely fantastic. Christian Walker, Gabby Moreno. You also have Corbin Carroll, who I think is going to get better eventually. He has to, right? Alec Thomas is also in center field there as well. Jock Peterson's been great at the DH position. So a lot to like about the Diamondbacks team. I think I like them more than really a regular person does or a regular baseball fan does. But I've been on their train since really the preseason, since they did end up making the World Series, of course. I thought that they've had a really, really great team. A lot of talent here, and I do have them at number 16. And, people may say I'm being a little crazy for that. I'm kind of overestimating them, but I really like what this team is doing right now. I love the talent they have here. And, yeah, I think this is a fair spot. At 17, I have the Tampa Bay Rays. The Rays are very mediocre. They just made a trade, potentially selling off one of their pieces in Aaron Savali. Really, I don't think that really means they're selling, but I think they definitely could. You have a lot of pieces to sell, like Zach Littell, Zach Eflin, who could both get very, very good returns back. Maybe even trade some more from bigger pieces like Randy Rosarena, Isaac Paredes. So I still think this Rays team is very good. I just don't think with how they're going, they are going to be good for much longer, because I think they're gearing towards selling, and I think that's honestly the right decision. But they've been better as of recently. Once their pitchers come back, guys like Jeffrey Springs, Shane McClanahan, whenever that is. I don't think it'll be soon, but whenever that is, you got Shane Baz back. Obviously moved on from Aaron Savali after that trade. So lots to like about this Rays team, but they are going to be selling soon, and it does not look like they'll be competitive for much longer. 18, we have the Pittsburgh Pirates. The Pirates have struggled as of recently, losing series to the Braves, to the Cardinals, but I still really like the talent on this team. Again, the top three of that rotation really is just untouchable. Paul Skeens, Mitch Keller, Jared Jones. You have other young prospects coming up for the pitching, like Anthony Solometo, Bubba Chandler, so this pitching is going to be absolutely incredible. They need to find some bats, though. I mean, other than Connor Joe, Brian Reynolds, I don't really see anyone that might be a long-term piece there. Brian Hayes plays great defense, but I don't know if that's really what you want right now. So they need to find some bats. Once they do that, they'll be very, very good. I'm looking at this team next year as a team that really is going to do some damage, and I'm very excited to see what the future looks like with them. Big series coming up with the Mets, two NL wildcard hopefuls. Important series for both teams. I really think this could be a do-or-die series for the Mets. If they lose this, they might have to change track on their season. We'll have to see, but going to be very interesting to watch. Paul Skeens tonight, so excited to watch him, especially against my team. If you watch the show enough, you know I'm a Mets fan, but you see the Mets jersey right there. So I'm very excited to watch that, and very interested to see what the matchup does look like today. Just excited for some great baseball. 19, we have the Pirates' NL Central rival, the Cincinnati Reds, another team I was very high on before the season that has not done as great. I mean, this Reds team has been injured to hell and back, but they have gotten some guys back. They've gotten Noelvi Marte back, so some of their depth is returned, but their pitching hasn't been as great with guys on and off the injured list all year. Hunter Green, Nick Lodolo, Frankie Montas, good top three, but Lodolo's been injured. Montas, I think, is going to be traded and hasn't been that great either, so bullpen is nice. Guys like Brent Suter, Alexis Diaz back there, Sam Mole as well. So a lot of nice pieces. I mean, the hitting core is obviously incredible with Noelvi Marte, Ellie De La Cruz, who's probably going to be an all-star. So a lot to like here on this Reds team. Just have not been able to put it all together for whatever reasons. Really, I think it's injuries. Matt McClain getting hurt before the season was a big one. So yeah, have the Reds at 19 here, but I think they're better when they're healthy. That's a sentence that sounds pretty stupid. Because every team is better when they're healthy. The Reds are significantly better when they're healthy, and they need to get healthy. So that's what I'll say. I think really next year is the year when everything goes right. I would not be surprised if they end up winning this NL Central. And at 20, ending off this portion, I have the San Francisco Giants. The Giants are a team who, simply put, does not have a ton of hitting talent. Some guys have stepped up in recent weeks, like Patrick Bailey, Heliot Ramos. The pitching is really nice with Logan Webb there, Kyle Harrison, but at the same time, just they need to get some more hitters. I think this team is very, very mediocre, and that's why I do end up having them here at number 20. So yeah, that is our 11 to 20 portions of our power rankings here. Going over it again: 11, San Diego Padres; 12, Houston Astros; 13, New York Mets; 14, Boston Red Sox; 15, St. Louis Cardinals; 16, Arizona Diamondbacks; 17, Tampa Bay Rays; 18, Pittsburgh Pirates; 19, Cincinnati Reds; 20, San Francisco Giants. Yeah, that is it for our 11 to 20 portion of our power rankings. Moving into our third segment, which is going to be talking about the 21 to 30 portions of the power rankings. So yeah, just continuing this, and we'll be seeing you after the break. So thanks, and bye.
Looking for your daily fix of sports talk without having to pay for it? GSMC Sports Network is available on YouTube. Just search GSMC Sports Network. Get your fix of daily sports talk shows on YouTube, absolutely free. NFL, college football, NBA, MLB, MMA, UFC, fantasy football, and so much more. GSMC Sports Network has shows running all day long, with new sports shows starting every 2 hours. just like on your favorite cable sports channel, except GSMC Sports Network is absolutely free. Just search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube to catch one of your new favorite shows, like the GSMC College Football Podcast, Chip Shot Football Podcast, Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, GSMC Basketball Podcast, and so many more. Check it out for yourself. GSMC Sports Network, now available on YouTube absolutely free. Search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube right now.
And we're back here on the GSMC Baseball Podcast, bringing you our third segment today, which is going to be talking about our 21 to 30 portion of our power rankings. Just, of course, did numbers 1 to 10 and then 11 to 20, so finishing it off here with number 21 to 30. Obviously, these aren't as interesting of teams because, of course, 11 to 20, 1 to 10 are the much better teams, but I still think these teams bring up interesting topics, are fun to talk about, and yeah, we'll be going over them, so let's get into it. Starting off with number 21, we have the Washington Nationals. The Nationals are a very interesting team. They really have had a lot of breakout stars this year that I really did not expect. I mean, you just look at yesterday's game against the Mets on July 4th. Jake Irvin pitched eight innings of one hit ball against a Mets offense that has been absolutely elite this year. He was pitching very, very well. That's another breakout piece that no one saw coming. Mitchell Parker, another guy. So, there's been a lot of talent on this Nationals team that we did not expect. A lot of infusion of young talent here. I mean, you just caught up James Wood, of course. You also again have some pieces that are great, like C.J. Abrams, who has been absolutely fantastic this year. So I think that overall this Nationals team has been very, very good this year. Well, no, I shouldn't say that. Sorry. They've been good this year. And I think they're going to be very, very good in the future. I mean, you can call up guys soon like Dylan Cruz, going to be absolutely fantastic. Robert Hassel as well. So there's a lot to like if you're a Nationals fan in the future. I still do have them at number 21 here because, again, it's just not their year. I think looking towards 2025, 2026, those years are really the competitive window, in my opinion. Those years are where you should be competing for the NL East, honestly, getting for high wildcard spots, trying to win pennants, trying to win the World Series, because I really love this Nationals young core. And as much as it pains me to say this, as a Mets fan who is a direct rival of the Nationals, they're going to be very, very good very soon. It's just this year's a little too quick. I think next year, once you have all these guys come up, once you have this amazing lineup of guys with like C.J. Abrams, Keibert Ruiz, Robert Hassel, James Wood, Dylan Cruz, once you have all these guys, you're going to be really, really good, and it's going to be a lot to like here. So I do have them here at number 21. 22, I have maybe the biggest disappointment in all of baseball this year, the Toronto Blue Jays. Now, the Blue Jays have just been bad. I think really what's been missing with them, I talked about it before in the show because they've been a hot topic, of course. They just don't have an identity. I just think this team is really stuck in the water of being mediocre. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. has been great, but other than that, I just don't really see anyone that is a superstar on this team. Kevin Gausman hasn't been as great as you would expect. Your rotation's still been good with guys like Gausman, like Barrios, like Bassett, but at the same time, I really don't see many players on this team who can be considered superstars. So I do think the Blue Jays are heading towards some kind of deep rebuild, to be perfectly honest. There are some nice prospects who can come up, like a Ricky Tiedemann, but I just don't think there's anyone that is going to be really saving the franchise, quote unquote. You might have had that guy in Aroldis Martinez, who I thought would be very, very good, but he, of course, got popped for PEDs after one game in the big leagues. So just really nothing's going right for the Blue Jays right now. One of the biggest disappointments of the entire year, and I do have them here at number 22. Number 23, I have the Tigers. Man, I really thought the Tigers would make a step up for this year. I really thought that their young bats would finally come together. Their pitching would be really good, and honestly, their pitching has been great. Reese Olson's been great. Jack Flaherty's been great. Tarek School's probably going to win the Cy Young. But, man, their offense has just not been good. You relied on guys like Colt Keith, Parker Meadows, Spencer Torkelson end up being really good impact players this year. And Meadows is in the minor leagues. Torkelson's in the minor leagues. Keith hasn't been great. He has been heating up as of recently, so I do want to give Keith credit. But still, just been so disappointing this year. Your rotation's been great, but you're going to have to end up now trading a lot of your guys like Jack Flaherty, your bullpen arms like Shelby Miller and Andrew Chafin, maybe even go further and trade a guy like Alec Lang, Jason Foley. We'll have to see. But overall, this Tigers team, they've been not great this year. Big disappointment. I really had high hopes of them. Not like I had them as a playoff team, but I really thought they would start to go in the right direction, and they really have not, and it's just been unfortunate. The hitting, man, really cost them. At 24, I have the Texas Rangers. Of course, I said at the start of the show they are going to be my fourth segment here, my next segment. So I'm not going to go too deep into them yet. I'm probably going to do that next segment. But yeah, this team has been injured to hell and back this year. Really has affected them. And, they have done better as of recently. Guys, Max Scherzer coming off the injured list. Wyatt Langford becoming the player that we all thought he could be. But I just think it's kind of too late right now. And yeah, again, I'll be talking about them more next segment. But do have them here at number 24. Now, 25 is the Chicago Cubs. Man, I don't know what happened to this team. They were looking so good at the start of the year. Shota Imanaga was balling. The rotation was great. The lineup was great. And man, they've just fallen apart. Craig Counsell has not worked out in Chicago so far. I see fans every single day on social media complaining about every single move he does. They might just be fed up and not really fed up with him, maybe taking their anger out on him. But man, he was really supposed to change that culture, and it's not been good. Imanaga's kind of come back down to earth. I still think he's going to be a much better pitcher than anyone expected, but at the same time, he has not been as great in the past few weeks, and it's shown. The offense, it's okay, but nothing too spectacular. Bullpen has some problems. Rotation is at. Javier Osawa just placed in the injured list. Ben Brown's been down there for a little while, so yeah, Cubs are coming back down to earth. I don't know what to do about this team. I think there's a lot of question marks they have to answer for the future. And yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting to watch what ends up happening with this team and what is going to be the future of them. All right, now going into 26, we have the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. The Angels are interesting. I really thought there would be a lot to like after this year. I thought there would finally be a core building for this Angels team, but nah, they've not been great. I mean, you have Kevin Pillar batting third today. Yikes, against the team I just mentioned, actually, the Cubs. That's interesting. But yeah, this team, there's not a lot to like here. This franchise is just deep, deep into the abyss. Mike Trout, if you're hearing this as a baseball fan who represents baseball fans all around the world, please get out of there. Please, go to a team that is competitive. We want to see you on a playoff team. Ohtani's going to play in the playoffs this year. We're stoked for that. Do you understand how much that's going to grow baseball? Just please get out of there. But man, this team is fueled by bad contracts, busts of prospects who, are good but are never going to do anything great because they're on this franchise. Pitching staff that is absolutely horrific. So, yeah, this Angels team is rough, man. This franchise is rough, and yeah, just a big disappointment over these past few years. And again, I thought there would be something to like after this year. I thought there would be some good pieces. Zach Neto, I thought was good. Logan O'Hoppe, I thought was good. Nolan Schanuel, I thought was good. Mickey Moniak. And these guys have been okay, but they haven't been enough to really steer this team in the right direction. I think Trout getting hurt really I think Trout really getting hurt was just the way of telling them, okay, this season's done. And yeah, it's been rough, and yeah, not a good time to be an Angels fan. I don't know if it ever has been, to be honest. Now, going into the last four teams here, as I've said before, these teams are the worst of the worst. They are absolutely horrific, horrible, awful, any words you can say, and that's why they're here. So if your team's at 27 instead of 30, or 28 instead of 27, these four teams are really bunched together. I really don't see a difference. 27, I have the Oakland A's. They have Mason Miller and Brent Rooker. After that, everyone's bad. 28, the Colorado Rockies. They have Ryan McMahon. He's really good. 29, Miami Marlins. They're going to trade everyone. Everyone who I mentioned that's good is probably going to be traded by the next few weeks or so. So I'm not really going to mention anyone. And then 30, Chicago White Sox. Again, White Sox, all the good players they have are gone. Garrett Crochet is going to be gone. Luis Robert's going to be gone. Tommy Pham's going to be gone. Everyone's going to be gone. And yeah, it's going to be a fire sale here in the South Side. So all these teams are really bad, but I did have the A's and Rockies over the Marlins and White Sox just because the Rockies do have Ryan McMahon, who's really propelled them. They also have caught up some good young talent, guys like, of course, Jordan Beck, Adel Amador, Ezekiel Tovar were good. A's have Brent Rooker and Mason Miller. Brent Rooker will, I think, most certainly be traded. Mason Miller is a franchise guy, I'd say. I really don't expect him to be traded. So that's why I have them above, but they're still not a great team. And that is why I do have the A's here at number 27. Then the Rockies 28, Marlins, White Sox, you get it. So yeah, that is it for our third segment here, ending off our power rankings. Just to recap, we'll be going over the full power rankings here case you didn't watch the first two segments, please do that. I think they're pretty good. Number 1, Baltimore Orioles. Number 2, Philadelphia Phillies. Number 3, Cleveland Guardians. Number 4, Los Angeles Dodgers. Number 5, New York Yankees. Number 6, Minnesota Twins. Number 7, Seattle Mariners. Number 8, Milwaukee Brewers. Number 9, Kansas City Royals. Number 10, Atlanta Braves. Number 11, San Diego Padres. Number 12, Houston Astros. Number 13, New York Mets. Number 14, Boston Red Sox. Number 15, St. Louis Cardinals. Number 16, Arizona Diamondbacks. Number 17, Tampa Bay Rays. Number 18, Pittsburgh Pirates. Number 19, Cincinnati Reds. Number 20, San Francisco Giants. Number 21, Washington Nationals. Number 22, Toronto Blue Jays. Number 23, Detroit Tigers. Number 24, Texas Rangers. Number 25, Chicago Cubs. Number 26, Los Angeles Angels. Number 27, Oakland A's. Number 28, Colorado Rockies. Number 29, Miami Marlins. Number 30, Chicago White Sox. So yeah, that is our power rankings for this week. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts on them are. Moving into our fourth segment here, which is going to be talking about the Rangers and their trade deadline, what they should do, my overall thoughts on them. So yeah, we'll be going over that, and we'll see you after the break. So thanks, and bye.
For the best and latest podcasts available anywhere, go to the podcast app on your cell phone and type in GSMC to access free content-rich podcasts on health and wellness, book reviews, sports, entertainment, relationships, social media, movies, technology, finance, and even weird news. Subscribe and download the GSMC Podcast Network's family of shows, available everywhere podcasts are found.
And we are back here on the GSMC Baseball Podcast, bringing you our fourth segment, which is going to be talking about the Texas Rangers and their trade deadline. So let's get into it. The Rangers are one of the most, I'd say, what's the word I'm looking for? Sorry, of course I have it in my mind when I'm trying to talk about it, and then when I actually have to say it, it goes away. But yeah, one of the biggest teams going into this trade deadline. One of the most, I'd say, just a team that. You go into this trade deadline, you're looking at them, you're seeing what they can do, and you're just looking at this team overall. Again, I had the word for it, but of course it escapes my mind. And yeah, going into this trade deadline, there's a lot of decisions that have to be made about this team. I mean, they're of course the defending world champions, so they want to kind of defend their honor, I'd say, try to make a run for the playoffs. And that's nice, but I think we have to look right now at really just reality and see what is going to be happening with this Rangers team. So first of all, you have to look at the standings here. You have to look at where the Rangers are indeed. And right now, currently, the Rangers in the AL West are in third place, only 2.5 games above the Los Angeles Angels, who, in my opinion, are absolutely awful. Again, 8 games out of the West lead, currently 8.5 out of the wild card. And I think it's time to face reality for the Rangers that they are going to have to be sellers, and that it is time for them to, again, kind of blow up this year's team, look towards next year. And again, nothing to hang your head about. I mean, this team has been amazing. I mean, they won the World Series last year, so nothing to hang your head about. But if I'm them, I'm really getting some guys out of here and focusing on next year. Now, there's a lot of great trade pieces on here. Again, I think the question is going into this thing for them, buy or sell. In my opinion, I'm selling. And yeah, I mean, you're looking at these pieces here. First of all, you have Nathan Eovaldi. This is a guy who has proven to be a playoff riser, a true playoff ace. And man, I think is going to be someone that is very, very valuable at this deadline. If you're a younger team, like let's say the Orioles, or let's say the Guardians, who needs a frontline arm, who has proven to be a dude in the playoffs, Nate Eovaldi is your guy. I mean, he's been a bulldog in the playoffs, helped the Red Sox with their World Series, helped the Rangers with theirs, is a guy that has proven to be someone who does not get nervous under these lights, and I think will be a fantastic addition to any team. John Gray would also be a great addition to some team. Only 1.5 years left on his contract. I think the Rangers would be smart to move him. Andrew Heaney, same thing. Michael Lorenzen, a year left. Scherzer, I think, is also going to be gone. Not sure about Tyler Mahle because he hasn't pitched yet this year. So I think there's a lot of talent that the Rangers can get back for this team. They have a lot of good pitchers, but the thing about these pitchers are they're older, they're on 1 to 2 year contracts, and you can get some good prospects back for a guy like Nate Eovaldi, like Andrew Heaney, like John Gray, like Michael Lorenzen, especially like Max Scherzer when you have that name value of him. And yeah, I think that selling off these guys, looking towards the next years or so, seeing what you do for your rotation would be, would be a lot smarter. I mean, looking at next year, you have, of course, guys like Jacob deGrom. He's coming back. He'll be a big part of your rotation. After that, you also, so first of all, you have deGrom there, who is, of course, going to be there. You also have some other younger guys like Jack Leiter, who could potentially be a person of interest to this rotation. Cole Winn, Owen White, younger pitchers like that, who I think could really help you out. So as much as you are trading off really 4 or 5 starters, you can get a lot of prospects back for them, some good guys who are really going to contribute to this team. You're still going to have some pieces there. Again, deGrom's going to be there. If you don't trade off one of these guys, you'll have him for next year. I think you should, though. And you have some younger players coming up, like Brock Porter, like Cole Winn, Owen White, Jack Leiter. I don't know what's happening with Kumar Rocker, but hopefully he's still going to be an impact player. So a lot to like there about trading off guys. Bullpen, same thing. David Robertson, Kirby Yates. I think you get a ton back for those guys. I really think they could really end up getting some good prospect hauls back, getting a veteran lockdown reliever like Yates or Robertson, who've been very good this year. Both have been long playoff runs in the past as well. I think both could end up getting good prospects back. Again, just another way for the Rangers to really rebuild this team in the future. And then you look at the lineup; it's really set for the future. I mean, you have Jonah Heim as your catcher for the foreseeable future, Nathaniel Lowe first base, Marcus Semien second base, Josh Young third base, Corey Seager shortstop, Evan Carter, Leody Taveras, Evan Carter, Adolis Garcia in the outfield, Wyatt Langford still, Josh Smith you're going to have to get involved somehow. So there's still a lot to like for this Tigers team in the future, even if you do sell off these guys who, again, your starting pitchers are older, they're on 1 or 2 year contracts, they're not really going to be big parts of your future. So I think selling off these guys in really what I would say is a lost season at this point really would be the right decision and kind of rebuild your rotation going into the next year. You have some good prospects coming up the line as well, like Sebastian Walcott, who I'd say should maybe be up by the end of next year. Maybe that's being a little generous, but I'm really high on him, and I think he'd be really good. So you may look at this Rangers team and say, okay, this is kind of a failure. I would disagree with that completely. I mean, they won the World Series last year. That's all you have to do. Max Scherzer, he might make only 11 to 12 starts in a Rangers uniform, but at the same time, he won a World Series for you last year. He was part of that team. He was one of the reasons why you did. Luis Angel Acuna, you traded, even though he might be a really good player for the Mets in the future. You won a World Series, which is all that matters. So I think right now, this year is for the Rangers to look towards the future more. And if I'm them, I'm trading off these guys like Nate Eovaldi, like John Gray, like Andrew Heaney, and Max Scherzer especially, because I don't think he's coming back next year. So if I'm a Rangers fan, that's what I'm doing. And yeah, I think that's really what the plan should be for this year. I do think you should sell. I just do not think there's a pathway for you to get into playoffs right now. Again, with how far you are back in that playoffs, and you got some reinforcements from the injured list. Wyatt Langford came back, Max Scherzer came back, of course, but Evan Carter is now still on the injured list. So I think it was a little too back too late kind of situation. By the way, the word I was looking for in the start was polarizing. They're one of the most polarizing teams at this deadline. Of course, again, it escaped my mind as soon as I was trying to say it, but that's what happens, I guess. So yeah, overall, I think that this Rangers team is going to be very, very interesting to watch. They're going to be a really just fascinating team to see what they do at this deadline, and I think there's a lot of decisions to be made. Personally, if I'm them, I'm giving up on this year. I'm trading all these guys on 1 and 2 year contracts, getting some youth in, and look, you've shown you can prove. You've shown in the past that you will spend a lot of money, and with this, with the pitchers on the market this year, Corbin Burns, Max Reed, guys are going to be free agents. I don't see why you wouldn't make a big run at one or two of those guys. Add them with Jacob deGrom. Add them with some of your young guys. Dane Dunning is a guy I forgot to mention as well. So still a lot to like for this Rangers team. Still a lot of good players that I think are going to be impactful, especially this offense. I mean, man, this offense is incredible. So as much as I do think you should sell, maybe give up on this year, quote unquote, there's still a lot to like about you guys. Still a lot of talent here. Still a lot of great players. And yeah, very excited to see what happens in the future. and very excited to see what direction the Rangers do go in for this deadline. Again, a very polarizing team. Won the World Series last year, of course, but it'll be very interesting to see what their decisions are for this year. So yeah, that is our fourth segment, talking about the Texas Rangers and their trade deadline. We're moving into our fifth and final segment, which is going to be talking about some news around the league, just some general news stories I did want to touch upon, stories that I thought were, good and meaningful, but maybe not meaningful enough to get a full segment on, so I did want to bunch them all together. So yeah, we'll be talking about that, and we'll see you after the break. So thanks, and bye. And we're back here on the GSMC Baseball Podcast, bringing you our fifth and final segment here, which is going to be talking about some news around the league, some news stories that I did want to touch upon, and just some stuff that I thought was notable to talk about, but not notable enough to maybe be its full segment. So I did want to kind of combine all these things together and just talk about them. So yeah, let's get into it. So first off, we have a pitching depth move for the Cleveland Guardians, acquiring Spencer Howard from the San Francisco Giants. I think this is a solid move here by Cleveland. Spencer Howard is a guy who's a former top prospect with Philly and with Texas, and I think it's just a nice, solid piece of veteran pitching depth for this Guardians team. Like I said, they need a lot of this right now. Their pitching rotation is pretty flawed. Their bullpen is pretty good, but again, I think their rotation really needs some help, and acquiring guys like this who are low cost, have, I guess, high upside, quote-unquote, because of what they used to be, I think is a really good move by Cleveland. And with where you are right now with your franchise, I think it's a solid move. Nothing really too crazy, just again a good piece of veteran pitching depth that can really eat some innings and come in the game if you need them to. So yeah, next off we have some pieces of Angels news. This is actually very interesting, so I did want to touch upon it. Luis Rengifo has been placed on the IL, and the Angels have called up Keston Kjerstad. Sorry, I just said a completely wrong name. Keston Hiura. I meant the name I said was Heston Kjerstad, who's an outfielder for the Orioles. I meant to say Keston Hiura. That has never happened to me before. Sorry about that. But yeah, Rengifo, of course, going the IL. That is also something that's significant. I'm not sure how long he's going to be out. It doesn't seem like it's going to be too long. It seems like it's just a regular 10-day IL stint for a minor injury, as from what I have gathered. Rengifo, it looks like he is going to be traded at the deadline for something. I think he is going to be a valuable piece with how well he's hitting this year. He's been mentioned a lot with the Yankees, which I do think would make a lot of sense. I think Rengifo to the Yankees is really a fit that is honestly perfect. The Yankees need an infielder. Rengifo's not going to cost them much. Is under control as well, and yeah, would get the Angels off a contract. So I think that would make some sense. But getting Keston Hiura for the Angels, I think, is very interesting. Of course, was a guy who had a really good rookie season for the Brewers, and then after that really did nothing. Failed to catch on with any other teams he's been in the minor leagues with as well. Failed to catch on with the Brewers again. So getting called up here by the Angels and probably getting to play a good amount is something that I'm really going to be interested in watching, because I still do think there's a lot of talent left in Keston Hiura as a baseball player. I still think he can smash righties, and getting a chance on a team like this who doesn't have much to play for, who doesn't have much expectations on them, I think honestly is a perfect spot for Hiura. And I'm an Angels fan, I'd be wanting more of these deals. I think, again, getting guys like Luis Guillorme, Cole Tucker, guys who aren't great, but may catch on fire and maybe someone you can get a prospect for at the deadline, I think is a very solid move for a franchise that really does not have a place to be at right now. So, yeah, I think this is a solid move by them, getting Keston Hiura. And I'm very excited to watch him, see if he can do anything with this Angels team. But I thought it was a very intriguing signing here, intriguing move by the Angels to end up calling him up. The Braves, of course, have signed Eddie Rosario to a minor league contract. This was so obvious. I mean, Rosario yesterday got cut from his contract with the Nationals after really struggling. And like most people, I thought to myself, man, he is going to be a Brave in the next 24 to 48 hours. And that is exactly what happened. He signed a minor league contract with the Braves, will be with their AAA affiliate, the Gwinnett Strippers, today. I assume will be called up eventually and will end up being a big part of their outfield depth. I mean, he's played for the Braves in so many years now. Once a former Brave gets cut, who of course played a significant role with their team, the Braves always pick them up. You saw it with Jesse Chavez. You're now seeing it with Eddie Rosario. So, yeah, Rosario, again, I think is a fine move for the Braves. It was just so obvious they would end up picking him up. It made so much sense. Again, with their outfield depth, I think it makes sense to end up getting a guy like Rosario, who is a veteran bat, who knows what he's doing up there, who's comfortable in the Atlanta organization, who will just fill in for some at-bats, fill in your depth. And I think, again, it's a good, solid move. And we'll see what happens with him. I don't think he'll start for Braves fans' sake. I hope he does not start. But, yeah, just, again, a good, solid piece of veteran depth here for this Braves team. The Nats have sent down Joey Meneses and called up Juan Yepez, so an interesting little situation here at the Nationals first base position. Of course, Meneses came on the scene as a 29-year-old, 30-year-old rookie last year for the Nationals, and it was absolutely fantastic, but really has struggled this year, has struggled to maintain any of what he did last year, and from what I could see, Nationals fans were kind of over him, and from the stats I looked at, it was time to send him down. He was a really nice story last year, could have potentially been a big part of this Nationals team in the future, but really, again, did not do well this year, and it was the right move to send him down. Do I think he can still be good in the future? Yes, just not entirely sure. Juan Yepez was called up by them, which I think is a solid move and an interesting move as well. Yepez, of course, was a former top prospect with the Cardinals and never really caught on. Signed a minor league contract with the Nationals. Has done pretty well in AAA, so it will be interesting to see with consistent reps at first base what he can end up doing and, how he is going to end up hitting. I think he could maybe latch on to a bench spot with the Nationals for next year if he starts hitting well for this. So we'll be interested to see there. But again, these teams like the Nationals who are trying to find more players for their core, picking up former players like a Yepez who really never caught on as a prospect, I think is a good solid move. And I like the move a lot in theory, and I think it was a good process by the Nationals to be able to get him. Then we have Trayce Thompson. He was released by the Mets. Thompson, of course, signed a minor league contract with the Mets earlier in the offseason, had a really nice spring training with them, was really making a way to be the Mets' fourth outfitter on the roster going into the year, but unfortunately did not make the roster and was stuck in AAA. Did okay there, but I guess not enough to stay on the roster, and the Mets did end up releasing him. Would be funny to see Trayce Thompson go to the Rangers, and both him and his brother now would sign from different teams to Dallas, Texas. So obviously Clay, his brother, who I'd say is more notable than him. Sorry, Trayce did sign with the Dallas Mavericks in free agency, so it would be interesting to see again if Trayce does go to the Texas Rangers. I think it would be really interesting to see that happen. It'll be fun, but yeah, I think Thompson could be good veteran outfield depth to a team that needs it. Again, almost was the Mets starting outfielder, fourth outfielder coming out of spring training, and being able to pick him up for a team right now this late in the season, I think will be a very solid addition. And I still do think there is some talent in that bat. He was very good with the White Sox and the Dodgers a few years ago, so I think there is again a part of him that can be really good depth for a team. Finally, Jared Jones was placed on the 15-day IL by the Pittsburgh Pirates. That means he will probably not be making his next three or four starts or so. So it doesn't seem like this is anything too major. I read some quotes and articles about it from the manager. It seems like it's just kind of out of precaution. Pirates, again, right now are going into a big series against the Mets, 2 NL wildcard hopefuls, and not having Jones for that will kind of suck. But overall, again, I think that it's better to be safe than sorry when you have young pitchers nowadays. And yeah, I mean, Jones has been fantastic this year. Really don't want to ruin that at all. So putting him on the 15-day IL out of precaution, I think, is a good move. And, always have to be safe with these younger arms, especially one that has shown so much talent as Jared Jones and has really flashed as much as he has. So, yeah, that those are the topics here, going over them again. Spencer Howard getting traded to the Guardians from the Giants. Really nice pickup of solid pitching depth for this Guardians team that definitely needs it. Luis Rengifo to the IL, calling up Keston Hiura. Very interested to see what is going to happen with Keston Hiura for this Angels team, how he is going to end up playing. Braves sign Eddie Rosario. Again, very obvious. We all knew this is coming. Good, solid, veteran outfield depth for this Braves team at this point in the season. Nationals sent down Joey Meneses and called up Juan Yepez. Unfortunate for Joey Meneses, who was a great story last year, but Juan Yepez, very interested to see how he does end up performing with this Nationals team. Trace Thompson, released by the Mets, I think will be a good pickup for any team needing some veteran outfield depth, whether that's fourth outfielder, whether that's in the minor leagues, I think would be a good addition. And then Jared Jones, who the 15-day IL, I think would, is obviously not something that Pirates fans are going to be too happy about, but at the same time, I don't think it's anything you need to be too worried about. It seems like it's just out of precautionary reasons, which is good. So that is my show for today, guys. I want to thank you so much for watching. Remember to like, subscribe to the notification bell so now you get notified when I upload, but when all the other great content creators on this channel do. Make sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram for more content and updates. Thank you for watching this week. Have a beautiful weekend. It's a beautiful day outside. Enjoy it, and we'll see what baseball throws at us tomorrow and Sunday as well. And we'll see you back here on Monday. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. See you on Monday. Thanks, and bye.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet, damn.